All eyes on the 12th India-China Corps Commander level talk in Moldo on the Chinese side of the line of actual control. The meeting is scheduled to begin at 10:30 a.m. will focus on disengagement in Gogra and Hot Springs. With the contentious Pangong Tso disengagement complete, the two sides are going to be looking forward to the standoff and to end the standoff at the crucial friction points that also include Depsang Plains. The two countries have been engaged in a military standoff for almost a year now, but disengaged from the most contentious Pangong Lake area last month after those extensive talks in both military and the political level. After 8 rounds of stalemate, the Chinese side during the 9th round has agreed to push for early disengagement. The next 2 rounds witnessed discussions on common friction points.
The Communist Party of China.
In a bid to strengthen the military deployment along the line of actual control, China has made it mandatory for every single Tibetan family to send 1 member to the People's Liberation Army. India Today learned from sources that the Chinese army is training Tibetan youth for operation along the line of actual control with India. Here's the complete story coming.
Terrain and culture have defeated the world's strongest military. It doesn't matter how much firepower they have. Without local knowledge, defeat is certain. And China learned it in the Galwan Valley. Beijing is looking for new soldiers, men who are used to this rugged terrain. China has settled on Tibet as its terrain is similar to the line of actual control. India Today has learned that Beijing is making it mandatory for every Tibetan family to send 1 member each to the People's Liberation Army. All those Tibetan soldiers would be deployed along the border with India. The Tibetan youth would be inducted into the Chinese forces after making them learn the mainland Chinese language. Tibetan soldiers also have to accept the supremacy of the Chinese Communist Party over any other belief, such as teachings of Dalai Lama and other religious gurus. China believes the presence of Tibetan youth in the army will give it many advantages. The Chinese army could get more acceptance among the local youth in Tibet.
The Chinese want the Tibetans to show their loyalty to the Chinese Communist Party and to learn their language. It is with a view to involve the locals so that they become their eyes and ears and they will be rewarded for their loyalty to the Chinese Communist Party.
Recruitment of Tibetans will also ease the pressure on Chinese mainland soldiers deployed in mountainous regions like the LAC. The major thrust of recruiting Tibetan youth into the Chinese army started in January this year. The Chinese saw how the Tibetans in exile have performed while serving in the special frontier forces of the Indian Army. Local soldiers will change the complexion of the LAC and they will even out the terrain and culture advantage that India may have. The Indian and Chinese sides have held multiple rounds of talks but are yet to find solutions for de-escalating at the friction points, including Hot Springs, Gogra Heights.
The Tibetan youth begin multiple advantages for the Chinese army as they are expected to bring greater acceptance of the Chinese rule among the local population of Tibetan autonomous region, as well as they ease the pressure of the Chinese mainland soldier in the deployment in the mountainous region of such as Ladakh. This is Manjit Negi for India Today.
The big question this morning was Raj Kundra and his involvement in the porn scandal being shielded. India Today has now pieced together the exact sequence of events that led to Kundra's arrest. And while initially the celebrity business tycoon's name was not in the charge sheet, his direct involvement in the porn ring was discovered when the Mumbai crime branch underwent a complete overhaul in the aftermath of the Antilia bomb scare and Sachin Vaze scandal. The question then is, who was protecting Raj Kundra? Here's a look.
It was 5 months ago, on the 5th of February, that the property cell of the Mumbai Police Crime Branch busted a pornographic racket where 9 people were arrested. 2 months later, a charge sheet was filed, but it did not name Raj Kundra. But the business tycoon knew that he was in trouble, so he dumped his old mobile phone and got a new one. This was also the time when there was a big churn in the Mumbai police. The Antilia bomb scare had shaken up the entire city and the police machinery. In the aftermath of the Antilia scandal, there was a complete overhaul inside the Mumbai police. Top cop Parambir Singh was transferred, his close aide Sachin Vaze was arrested, and a whole new team took over the crime branch. In June, as new officers took charge, they started to investigate old cases and stumbled upon details of the porn racket. The officials now suspected direct involvement of Raj Kundra and his app Hotshots. The crime branch also had Kundra's WhatsApp chats with Umesh Kamath. The investigation continued for another month. By now, the investigators were certain of Raj Kundra's role and wanted to question him and search his premises. On the 19th of July, the crime branch secured a search warrant, and within hours, raids were carried out in Vian Industries offices in Mumbai. The Mumbai crime branch team found a lot of video data and adult content from the servers at Kundra's office, as India Today has reported. While the raids were on, crime branch personnel heard Kundra asking for data to be deleted. The officers thought crucial evidence may be erased and that Kundra might get off the hook. The cops swung into action and handed over a notice to the business tycoon and his aide Ryan Thorpe. And Kundra was summoned to the property cell for questioning. The business tycoon refused to go in a police vehicle. On the evening of the 19th of July, Kundra was grilled, and at around 10:45 p.m. that night, he was finally arrested. A 5-month operation ending in the arrest of this individual, now suspected to be the kingpin of a wider racket. All allegations against Raj Kundra remain part of the investigation by the Mumbai Police Crime Branch. With Saurabh Bhaktania in Mumbai, Bureau Report, India Today.
The situation at Assam-Mizoram border remains tense after deadly clash took place on 26th of July. 6 police officers lost their lives and over 70 were injured. India Today hit ground zero, talked to the local tribes at the border about how they're feeling after the violent clashes. Ashutosh Mishra with this compelling ground report.
Deadly clashes over a 150-year-old border dispute that has left 6 people dead and more than 70 injured. The situation at the Assam-Mizoram border remains tense after the violent clashes between the state police forces on the 26th of July.
I'm here at ground zero, Assam and Mizoram border. Right behind me is the place that was the flashpoint on 26th July that led to the killing of 6 policemen from Assam. And if you see in those images, that is the particular point, some around 500 meters from the place at the moment where I'm standing. And top of that, that's the one of the bunkers set up by Mizoram authorities, the IRB and also the Mizoram police.
The confrontation between the two states has triggered fear amongst local tribes living along the border.
डर तो लगेगा सर, अभी यदि बाई चांस फिर गुल्ली शुरू होगा तो फिर भी हम लोग को भागना पड़ेगा यहाँ से.
कभी सोते हैं एक आंख से सोते हैं, एक आंख से जागते रहते हैं कहीं गोलाबारी आ जाए.
Not only are they living in fear, their livelihood has also taken a hit. The villagers say they will not be able to cross the border anytime soon.
हम लोग का अभी करने का कुछ भी नहीं है. क्या करेंगे हम लोग? सरकार कुछ नहीं कर सकता है.
The Assam government has meanwhile issued an advisory asking people from the state to avoid any travel to Mizoram. The Assam government claims a crackdown on drug smuggling and illegal cattle trade led to the interstate clash. All vehicles entering Assam from Mizoram are now being thoroughly checked. The killing of the 6 Assam policemen has triggered anger among the people of the state. The people of Lelapur village have imposed an undeclared blockade, stopping all supplies from Assam to Mizoram.
इतना फोर्स मोरा है, गाँव वाला आदमी भी मोरा है, तो हम लोग अभी ब्लॉकेट किया है, तो जब तक ये फैसला नहीं होगा तो हम ब्लॉकेट नहीं चढ़ेगा।
किस तरह का रोक पाबंदियां आप लगा रहे हैं लोगों के लिए? कौन लोग जा सकते हैं पार करके चेक पोस्ट, कौन नहीं जा सकता?
कोई नहीं जाना सकता है उधर का, कोई पब्लिक नहीं जाना, कोई पब्लिक जाने से उधर में रिस्क है।
Across the border, people living in Mizoram are equally angry. They're accusing the Assam police of encroaching on their farms to set up their camps.
Anron sa hi ka izon ve na ber ania Assam sarkar hianin tuna hianin mindua sakmek ani harsat na kato na chuchu ni.
There are locals behind this barricade who are sitting here and ensuring no vehicles should pass from there. So either it is the civilians or even the supply. And remember, Mizoram has mostly supply from Assam, and after the killing of the 6 policemen, there is anger amongst the people, and that's why exactly these group of people are protesting here.
With Ashutosh Mishra at the Assam-Mizoram border, Bureau Report, India Today.
With less than a year left, the big battle of Uttar Pradesh caste politics has heated up in the state. Addressing a Brahmin meeting in Amethi, BSP General Secretary Satish Chandra Mishra launched a blistering attack on the BJP, referring to gangster Vikas Dubey's encounter in Kanpur last year. Mayawati's trusted aide alleged that Brahmin Vikas Dubey was killed under mysterious circumstances. Continuing his attack on the Yogi government, Mishra alleged that Brahmins are being oppressed under his regime, and the cops have been ordered to identify people from higher caste and kill them. The BSP is aiming to repeat its 2007 assembly poll success by consolidating the Brahmin votes. The party has promised to expedite the construction of Ram Mandir in Ayodhya. Also, the BSP has been holding Brahmin meets across the state.
देखा किस तरीके से ब्राह्मण समाज के एक व्यक्ति को जब मारा इन्होंने, और हमारा भी कानून कोई आदेश नहीं, सरकारी आदेश नहीं है, हाईकोर्ट का आदेश नहीं है, न्यायालय में नहीं ले गए, लेकिन गाड़ी पलटती है, मार देते हैं। ठीक है, आप कहते हैं कि उसने गलत काम किया था, लेकिन बाकी लोगों ने क्या किया था? उनकी भी गाड़ी पलट गई। 18 साल का एक लड़का जो था भी नहीं, वहाँ हरियाणा में था, दूर का रिश्तेदार, कहा नहीं उसको भी उठवा लो, उसकी भी गाड़ी पलटा दी आपने, उसको मरवा दिया। कितने लोगों को गाड़ी पलटवा के मरवा दिया आपने? कहा कि गाड़ी पलटी फिसल करके और उससे निकले और वो पुलिस वाले के ऊपर हमला कर रहे थे, इसलिए गोली मार दी। अगर इस तरीके से आप करेंगे तो कितने किस्से आप सुनेंगे। रायबरेली में 5-5 ब्राह्मणों को जला के मार दिया, उनकी झोपड़ी नहीं जाती। लखनऊ में रोक करके, एप्पल कंपनी में नौकरी करते थे, इंजीनियर आदमी था, पूछा नाम ब्राह्मण, गोली मार दी।
No end to the surge in cases in Kerala. For the 4th consecutive day, the state reported over 20,000 cases in a single day. In the last 24 hours, the state reported 20,772 fresh cases and 116 deaths. The positivity rate in the state surged to 13.61%. To understand the magnitude of the spread, Kerala has reported nearly 100,000 cases in just 5 days. Till Monday, the state is going to be under a total lockdown. Moreover, in a bid to curb the spread, Centre has sent a 6-member team to the state. The team arrived in the state on Friday and is now working in coordination with the health department.
A pandemic is like a fire. The brown trees represent the vulnerable people, that is, people who don't have immunity yet, which means that the more the number of vulnerable people in a region and the more densely populated the area, the more the wildfire will spread or more the pandemic will spread. As expected, there is an increase in the number of reported cases in Kerala after lockdown has been relaxed. But what matters is to prevent all kinds of dangerous pandemic behavior such as mass gatherings, and these are not happening in Kerala.
Welcome back. India's #1 shuttler PV Sindhu needs to win one more game to confirm at least a silver medal at the year's Olympics. The 2016 Rio silver medalist will be aiming to go one better when she gets on the court next for her big semi-final match. Here's how Queen Sindhu stormed into the last four. Take a look.
India's PV Sindhu is only a victory away from ensuring India gets a medal in women's badminton singles. Sindhu defeated Japan's Akane Yamaguchi in straight games in the quarterfinals. With this, India's hopes of winning a first-ever Olympic gold are still alive. The 26-year-old who won a silver in the 2016 Rio Olympics defended brilliantly and rode on her attack to outclass the 4th-seeded Yamaguchi. She won 21-13, 22-20 in a 56-minute quarter-final clash. While Sindhu won the first game comfortably, the second was quite a tight contest. After Sindhu took a 6-point lead in the second game, Yamaguchi roared back and then she went ahead 20-18. But Sindhu had saved her best for the last. She didn't just save 2 game points, but won the next 2 to win the game and the match. Sindhu is yet to lose a game at the Olympics so far. A feat she'll hope continues when she faces #2 seed Tai Tzu Ying for a place in the final. Sports Bureau India Today.